So reportedly, longtime radio talk show host Howard Stern may be having his Sirius XM radio show canceled. And this is someone who many may, perceive to be a pioneer of the radio industry because he's been around since the 1980s. But here recently, in recent years, he's become more politically biased, leaning towards the liberal bought and paid for, parrots of the media. And that could be what contributed to him potentially being canceled. But I just find it interesting that I watched an interview of him with Hillary Clinton after she lost back in 2016, and he was the biggest suck up. She came on his show and he was like, in my mind, you are the president. You got more, you won more of the popular vote than Trump, and yada, yada, yada. But he never did mention that it was reported that she stole the nomination from Bernie Sanders, another member of her own party. So 2016 was supposed to be Bernie versus Trump. But she stole the nomination reportedly and still lost. Epic. At any rate, he didn't want to really dwell on the servicemen being in Benghazi that sent her over 600 emails pleading for their lives and that were, unalive because she didn't respond. Also, the fact that she deleted over 33,000 emails after receiving a subpoena and was holding a private server for government information. Yeah, so, and even her husband, who was on record saying, I did not have sexual relations with that woman, was really talking about her. So if she wasn't getting it from Bill, then she was getting it from our bills. At any rate, you guys, and then he did an interview with Joe Biden, telling Joe Biden, sir, can I share my fantasy with you? This was around the time that the left was debating whether or not they were going to allow the mentally fit president to debate with Trump last year. And because he was mentally fit. But Howard Stern was like, if I was you and I debated Trump, I would just tell Trump, well, at least I'm not the one that made the phone call asking for several thousand votes to be found in my favor. You were trying to rig an election, asking for several thousand votes. And how are you going to run for president trying to rig an election? Well, in 2020, why did y'all stop the count on election night? Okay, why did y'all say Joe Biden won 81 million votes, the most votes in the history of any other president, including Barack Obama? Okay, so that was bullshit. We weren't buying that. And then he's just sitting there when Howard was talking to him like he still couldn't get a clue. Maybe Howard would have been able to deliver it better to him if he had written it down like they did with his little note cards when he did his little press conferences and stuff. But you guys, a lot of these liberal bought and paid for parrots are either coming up canceled, out of a job, or, demoted. And it's just interesting. I guess they're no longer needed. Their services of running this negative rhetoric on Trump has not succeeded because he won 2 times and a second time in a landslide. So we are officially coming out of the era of wokeness in the sense of liberal ideology into the light.